Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, and a happy Saturday morning to everyone out there in cryptocurrency land. Just getting started, just waking up. As you can see, I've done my hair in a very special way today. So let's get into the charts right over here as the day has started. And what we talked about yesterday is, well, looks like it's in progress at the current moment in time. So as always, want to start off by getting out the most important thing, this horizontal right here, 6150. As long as you're above that, as shitty as this chart can look, I can't get too bearish as long as you're above 6150. Now, we will certainly talk about how this chart looks in just a second over here. But I always want to state that is that, hey, as long as you're above 6150, 6100, and maintaining, some nice thick green solid tight dildos above there, all good, perhaps you have the chance to just kind of go sideways and grind it out. By the same token, it looks to me like Bitcoin has lost the yellow 21 exponential right over here, and while we are kind of popping back up, if this does get rejected on the second try, I would consider that a nice short opportunity is what I mean to say. So again, let's kind of plot out the resistances and supports. The 6360 area that we spoke about yesterday getting hit in the early morning hours. As I was just waking up myself, I was like, all right, nice, good, okay, we're there. And I believe we did have some bullish divergence on the hourly down around here. Yeah, very, very slight, but it was there. Very, very slight, and kind of reaching back around over here. Overall, this 6360 resistance actually doesn't look strong to me. It looks like we could break it quite easily. And the next area I'd be looking for is about 6390, right over here. We'll call it right over here, yeah, about 63.90-ish area, which does coincide with that daily 21 exponential right around there. Yeah, it's coming in around 63.88 actually, and 83 cents. So yeah, if you do kind of adjust it, right in the range. These ranges are so fucking tight right now that the smallest little change actually does kind of start to change the overall outlook. But hey, as long as you're below 63.90, do look at this with slightly bearish tilt, but again, it's how much edge is on a bearish trade. That's just a word. I don't mean to say that like I think that we're gonna go to fucking 4,500 from here. If you break 6100, 6150, then perhaps we could talk about that. But for now, just tighten up the range. At the end of the day, very light volume action over here. We had some nice bearish divergence on this kind of rally over here, and the fact that this rally did get stuffed right back down below 6400, that was kind of my critical area right here. Did not want to see it violate this area, and the fact that it did violate that area, it does kind of signal some bad things. However, again, I need to see price action first before getting super bearish, super bullish, either which way. Now, if our current support that we're resting on right around 63.30, or sorry, not that we're resting on, that we kind of held up this morning, if that one does get broken, the next level that I'm looking for is 62.50-ish area. Yes, you technically have an area at around 62.80 as well. I know that these ranges are getting so fucking tight, but yes, this is the proper way to do it. It's just we're at that point in the market cycle where, every little thing counts essentially. It's going to get into like a $10 range at some point. But overall, Bitcoin kind of has been making higher lows over here. And kind of, do you call this a higher high? Not really. But hey, if you did break 62.80, you'd kind of lose that posturing. So overall, if Bitcoin were to come back down to that area, it would be interpreted a little bit more bearishly. But again, I need to see price action first. The major levels are the major levels. Now let's go over the bulls case. What would the bulls be looking for? Well, as long as we're under 64.60, I do look at this as, bears are in slightly more control. If you do break above 64.60, that to me would be indicative of a likely run towards a 66.30-ish area, which is very important because not only is it the 66.30 area, that horizontal right there, but it's also, Jesus Christ, man. Let's get rid of these indicators over here. But it's also the overall downtrend resistance line coming in right over here as well. So again, if Bitcoin were to kind of come into this range and pop above this area that it hasn't broken in the last, over 11 months, that would be a change of behavior by the definition of it. So it would be an interesting thing to do. I don't necessarily consider this a declining or descending triangle or falling wedge. I think it's not either. It's neither. Not either. I think people kind of trying to force their opinion on it one way or another is just misguided. We have something new going on. Is what I believe is what I believe the volume characteristics kind of show down around here. Overall, this this is indicative that there's indecision, and especially it's a lot more visually apparent when you look at this smaller descending triangle right here, which we technically did break out to the upside right over here, but again, being held back by all the major moving averages, very piss poor breakout, extremely low volume, and you saw back down, test this area over here, and then have a decent reaction above it, but again, just very low volume action to begin with. So it's, you know, I don't really put too much value on that, and it does offer up the opportunity for trappage. Overall, this is what very well could happen if the bigger descending, I mean, if you are looking at this as a bigger descending triangle, which again, I don't believe it is. I believe what's likely to happen is you're going to kind of like meet the end over here, and you'll have something similar to what we did over here, is you'll just kind of splurt out, and then you know, nothing really happens, and you know, you'll have about a week, couple weeks, 3 weeks before someone kind of decides the direction. And if nothing happens, well, then it's time to move on, because that is where things start to get quite interesting. Anyways, we won't talk about that too much right now. That's getting a little bit too ahead of ourselves. But overall, when it comes down to it, not only is this overall resistance trend line coming in around 6630, and not only is it a nice horizontal level, it's also this cyan 100 exponential right over here on the daily dollar time frame. So if you could get above there, you know, just another thing kind of saying, hey, that would be a nice step to climb in the wall of worry. Your next resistance would be over here right around 67.50. If you could take out that guy, then your next big area, your next big step on the wall of worry would be this guy right here, about 7,000. Also your 200 simple and 200 exponential, which we have been living under for quite some time now, and then making a high above 73.50. Those would be all the next ingredients for me to see to be a little bit more bullish leaning. Right here, right now, I have to be more neutral than anything, with a slight bearish twist, which I'll go over in just a second. But again, you know, 6,100 needs to be broken for that to be completely, you know, for me to be more confident in that. Again, you know, I can look at this chart like similar, like other analysts out there, and, you know, I can come up and I can see kind of the same things, but I won't take a trade off that until we actually break that level. So that's why that's really important to me. In the meantime, all I'm doing is just playing options over here. You guys been watching this position just slowly building up and up. This is the beauty of options, just kind of sitting back and letting it come in. Man, someone said something very profound yesterday, saying it was just like basically collecting fucking insurance, which in a way it kind of is. And you know, if you want to learn how to do stuff like that, which this is actually a very small position, producing that profit today. But if you want to learn more about that, definitely go check out the link in the description of this video. It's 42 modules of options, just fucking drilling it out to the bitter end. But hey, there is a discounted period on that with the code BF20. So definitely check that out if you're interested in that. Again, I actually want to like dissuade people from even investing in a program like that if you're not fully, you know, down with it, because when it comes down to it, understanding options, there's a major learning curve when you're first beginning, just to understand what a call and a put is. So if you're coming from ground zero, understand that. The technical analysis program is probably what most people probably would benefit the most from. Anyways, okay, so when it comes down to it over here, let's look at our higher time frame oscillators. We got our daily over here just crossing down on the Stokes, rejecting the more bullish zone over here. So that would be a little bit more bearish, and that's what makes me think that we do kind of pop back, maybe even around here, 63.90, 63.85, and actually get rejected from there. That is my opinion. If I'm giving my opinion on this, yes, that is what I think will happen. Am I taking trades off that right now? No, because it's a fucking $30 range. There's no edge on this trade. Daily RSI getting below the exponential right here, and also initially bouncing off of this, bouncing off the bearish zone, but it does feel like there's a little bit of pressure coming in the market right now. Again, to me, this becomes a lot more visually apparent when we go to the higher time frames, like a 2-day over here, which is a clear rejection of the 21 exponential with follow through right here. Now, yes, this is all low volume action, but the fact that Bitcoin has not been able to both open and close a 2-day dildo above this 21 exponential is very, very damning in my opinion. Again, you have the 2-day dildo death cross over here. Bitcoin's only had one other time in its 10-year history, over 10-year history, that it's even had this, and that was back over here in good old 2014. And again, you know, keep in mind, once you got that death cross, Bitcoin went sideways for about a month and a half, 2 months, even testing the 55 once, and then kind of crawling and closing a couple dildos above this 21, but eventually falling down to its ultimate red dildo capitulation death hole. Anyways, when it comes down to it, you know, that's one of those things that I want to be aware of over here, because, you know, these markets take a long time to kind of sort themselves out. As you can see in the background of my office over here, it's very, very serious space. So when it comes down to it, you know, have to pay attention, and this this next kind of month of action is going to be extremely important when it comes down to it. Even though these ranges are very, very tight and people probably don't think too much of like a $10 to $20 move, it actually is going to start to matter a lot more as it as it has been essentially. So again, as long as Bitcoin's below about 64.30ish area, I do lean to the downside. But here's the thing, again, having a reaction off the purple 200 exponential right over here, that is the big one in my opinion. Yes, that was a nice rejection of the 21 on the 3-day right here. This is the 3-day, by the way. Rejecting the 21 and also rejecting a clear rejection of the 200 simple, this red line over here. Now, we have both opened and closed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're working on a 7th over here. 3-day dildos below this 200 simple moving average over here. And while you have had a reaction off this 200 exponential over here, you can see that the range is getting tighter and tighter, and each and every bounce off from this area is getting weaker and weaker. We had this first one over here for about a couple $1,000. We had this second one over here for $1,000. We had this third one over here for about 500. We had this fourth one over here for about 250 from top to bottom. Sorry, from dildo body to dildo body, not wicks, because again, what do wicks tell you? And in my opinion, they just tell you about crazy liquidations. And then over here, it's actually what's half of that, 125. So you're probably noticing a pattern as we go along over here. And with the rejection of this area over here on the 200 simple, I do believe that this is coming into play, and that's actually starting to really put pressure on downwards pressure on price action and defining the range, so to say. So it's all so like think of like a fumigator, and like as it builds up more and more and more and more and more pressure, it becomes more and more likely to burst. And because the range is so tight now, that burst is going to be extremely powerful. So overall, while I do say that 6100 or 6150 being broken on a daily dildo time frame on heavy volume would be kind of my signals for, okay, it's go time, baby. And when I say go time, I mean go time to the downside. I would also use the 3-day dildo 200 exponential, this purple line right over here, because Bitcoin has not both opened and closed a 3-day dildo below it. It's just, it's closed a few below it, but it's not both opened and closed a dildo below it. And that's coming in around 6,300 even. And that really has been the defense from what I see. So again, just kind of want to go over the importance of this over here. In 2014, the only other time you've actually both opened and closed dildos below these moving averages over here. The 200 simple, obviously getting it relatively well to begin with, but not getting the turnaround over here as well as the 200 exponential. Once the 200 exponential, got above price action, that was very bad. Once it got below, that was very good. You had a 3-year bull run after that. So again, the 200 exponential actually got the accumulation of 2014 perfectly, fucking perfectly. So again, going back in over here, these are things that I really have to be aware of. Throwing on the 10 simple, let's see if that's telling us anything on the 3-day dildo time frame, and not so much. I mean, do we close above or below this area? We still got another day on this guy. It doesn't close until the 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern time, so we'll just kind of have to figure that one out. But again, a rejection like this and then follow through, yes, it is very low volume action, but it's at that point where these little small moves do matter. Weekly over here, weekly very nasty to me indeed, because the weekly is, if the weekly does close below 64.40, which is, quite a far way now, then it sounds crazy to say that that's far away. It's like that used to be a fucking 10-minute range in Bitcoin, like 5 months ago. Anyways, if it does close here or lower, and especially below 64.40, this is just going to look like another rejection of the 10 simple moving average over here again, which has been curtailing price action throughout the last couple of months, actually getting it very well ever since you got this bearish engulfing dildo on the weekly right here. It's been it's basically been stifled by that area. So again, just another thing to be aware of coming down into it over here. I'm looking at this guy over here, the 21 exponential across on the downside, the green 55 exponential. We're going to get resolution on this tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time if we gain more momentum away from each other. I'm going to say that we probably do. And again, that's going to be very, 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 very bad. Going back on over here into 2014, Bitcoin, once it got this cross over here, yes, it did take its time. It even tested it a couple times, but eventually a couple months later, it did fall down to its ultimate red dildo capitulation death hole. So when it comes down to it, have to be very, 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 very aware of these sorts of things. All this low volume action, all this low volume kind of tests over here, people interpret this as accumulation because they read like one sentence in a fucking Wyckoff book, and please understand that whole theology, that whole theory takes a long time to really master. So like looking at some random person from crypto Twitter, which is a great place. It's a fucking great place. you know, they might not they might not have done the actual work. So when it comes down to it, you know, this action over here, yes, it is low volume, yes, you are hanging at your lows, but you are also below all your major movement averages. So by my standards, this is not something that I'm not super interested in longing, unless we kind of initiated those stairs to or the steps to success that we spoke about in the beginning of this video. Which, you know, if you have those, then yes, I really start to reconsider that idea, and I'd happily take some longs off of all those levels that we talked about. But over here, you know, you also have your blue 30 simple moving average, you know, angling back down again. That's going to put pressure on price action. That is not fucking good in my experience. So going back on over to the daily over here, daily's yeah, daily's just telling you we have a lot of resistance at 63.90. There's probably a decent short opportunity over there as long as we're below 63.90, and if this area does get rejected, if we even get up there, I mean, I think that it does kind of test up around there, or it's likely to. That would be a short opportunity in my opinion. This looks like it does want to pop up and test 63.90ish area, the cross right here. So overall, you know, when it comes down to it, we do have the CMEs closing the day at 63.20 area, which is very interesting to me. CMEs closed at 63.20, so this would offer up a little bit of a counterpoint. If coming into Sunday, Bitcoin, the underlying asset, is actually trading above 63.20, I would probably be a little bit more bullish for the following week, or at least for a nice bounce. So we'll have to see that one as it opens. You know, it's you know, obviously if Bitcoin, if the spot underlying that we're looking at on an exchange like BitMexico or all these SAFU exchanges, if that opens up below 63.20, well, that would be very bad. That would be very, very bad. So again, you know, a delicate situation when it comes down to it, but that's kind of the next trade that I'm looking at. If I even do want to trade Bitcoin, I'm just trading options in Bitcoin because it's so much easier on the fucking soul. Can sleep. I've had good nights of sleep recently, so I'm really happy about that. Let's go over here and check out XRP. Everyone's been on XRP recently. Having one of the better runs, hitting our upper target right over here, or I mean, getting close enough. You know, 58 cents, close enough is fucking close enough. And having a reaction off of this area over here. You know, again, everything's kind of coupled in together. I know people always talk about the decoupling with this guy, but until you actually get the decoupling, well, you know, you gotta call a spade, which I'm told is a racist term. I apologize about that if that really is a racist term. Hopefully it's not, but hey, it's all about intention in my book, so I don't intend for it to be, so it shouldn't be. Anyways, this one actually does look like it wants to kind of bounce back up, and maybe test this area right over here around 54 cents. But overall, you know, if Bitcoin takes a tumble, this one likely will as well. And so if you were to break 49.5 cents, then very likely coming back down to this 46 cents area right over here. Overall, what our oscillator is saying, daily Stokes are just crossing down, so you know that would kind of suggest that we're likely to go down. Daily RSI kind of fucking around in the neutral zone, neither bullish nor bearish. What about like a lower time frame, a 4 hour over here? 4 hour Stokes are actually crossing down fresh right now as well. So if you do lose 49.5 cents, very likely coming back down to this area around 46 cents. But again, you know, overall, I don't want to sound too doom and gloom on this. It's not doom and gloom at all. This guy is consolidating is what it looks like to me. That's what the volume says. That's what the shape says. But if Bitcoin, you know, whatever Bitcoin does, typically the alts follow. Speaking of, let's go check out Mr. Buteral. What is he doing over here? Yeah, Mr. Buteral just filling out this symmetrical triangle that we spoke about. Got to get rid of these guys. That we kind of spoke about the last week or so. Overall, you know, a rejection over here means that you have to redraw the triangle. Before we were kind of drawing it like so. You know, like this guy right over here. And this is why I hate diagonals, because, you know, you break them out and then the breakout fails and then you just redraw it. And that's the right way to do it. And, you know, that is right. The volume characteristics are right. So what happens over here? Well, it looks like we already did kind of test this area right here at 211-ish area perfectly. A reaction off the 21 exponential over here, which I fucking missed my buy-in on that. And I'm so sad about it, to be honest with you. But hey, fair enough. When it comes down to it, you know, if you know, it looks to me right now like it's a rejection of 211. As long as we're kind of below here, and it is kind of looking nasty. Hourly Stokes kind of getting overdone as well. Although they can stay up there if they want to, but hey, if we come back down and bust through 208, this thing will very likely come back down. to this region right over here around 197. So we'll just kind of float it in right over here. Yeah, sorry, not 197, 198. I apologize about that, 198. So yeah, overall pretty critical area for Mr. B-roll. If he can break 211, then the next area is obviously the top of this guy right here, 216. If you can break above 216, well, I think I had a measure move taking it all the way to like 270ish areas. So let's actually just see if we can put this guy in. And if you did break it out to the upside again, closing a daily total above 218 on heavy volume, yeah, about 280 actually. Now by the same token, if you break it out to the downside, well, it goes so far fucking down you can't even see. 130ish area, 135ish area. So again, that would be initiated with a daily total closing below about to 195ish area. But I probably need to readjust this because it would be like right around here, right? Yeah, about 194. We'll call it 194. So again, have to be aware on that guy. As this one kind of sorts itself out, again, your daily Stokes are crossing down over here. Your 12-hour, I believe, are crossed down. Yes, they are. What about your 4-hour? 4-hour just crossing up. So our lower time frames would be saying that we have a little bit left in this rally. 3-hour Stokes over here crossing up as well, getting out of the neutral, or getting out of the super bearish zone. So I would look at that and say I think that it is kind of likely that you do actually test a little bit higher first. But hey, again, keep this level in mind. 208, very important. You close a 4-hour below there, extremely bad. Extremely bad. Let's go check out GBC over here. GBC at closing the day at $7. Wow. Okay. That's probably just annoying to listen to, but let me explain why I'm wowing over here. So I was kind of looking at the lower time frames, like a 2-hour over here. We were looking at it yesterday, and it opened the day down. You had an island top over here reversal, which rejected. Sorry, let me go over the whole chart. Okay, island top over here rejecting this $8.05 area, the area that we spoke about as being extremely important. That as long as you're below there, it's hard to get excited about. Yes, this does seem to act as a leading indicator for Bitcoin, and the fact that you put in an island top right here tells me that this is a very strong rejection of this resistance right here at $8. Coming back down over here, opening the day down and having fall through, that just adds to the case. And the fact that we just got rejected from essentially the 21 exponential around the $7.25 area on the lower time frames with this wick right here, and then heading down south after that, very bad. To put it lightly, very fucking bad. Now, yes, $6.80 is the preliminary support that it needs to hold, but as long as you hold it, it's like Bitcoin above 6,400, right? It's like, all right, well, it's not like my favorite looking chart of all time, but closing a pair of dildos below this 21 exponential over here on the 4-hour dildo time frame as well might get golden showered on. You do have to be aware of these sorts of things because they really do matter. Now, of course, as long as $6.80 is there and holding it, like we said, can't get too bearish, just like Bitcoin above 6,100, 6,150. But the second that you break that, in for some new lows. And I believe that you do have, and while this is not my favorite thing, you do have some hidden bearish divergence over here between this point and this point. Major new high on your RSI and lower high on your price action in the context of a downtrend. Again, not my favorite way of doing things. I typically don't call those things out because I don't care. Let's go check out on SPYs. I haven't looked at SPYs. Closing the day down. Yep. Okay. Beautiful. Fucking beautiful. Down at 277.75. So again, we spoke about this guy as he was likely to close underneath the 21 exponential by end of day. Yes, he did on the weekly. And so yes, I do remain bearish on this guy. I think that we probably do go sideways for the next couple of weeks as the monthly is really why I'm bearish on this guy, meaning that it's going to take a long time for the monthly to play out. But overall, you have major bearish divergence on the monthly. You have major bearish divergence on your Stokes as well, rejecting the more bullish zone. Overall, coming back down to this area over here and having an initial bounce off of 276, that's fine, but you are likely to break it. You are kind of likely to break it on the next pass. So when it comes down to it, probably go sideways in a range essentially over the next couple weeks while we let the monthlies kind of populate. But once we get into December and January, I would look for that to actually start to play out. Next week probably range between here and essentially 280ish area. So again, another tight range after some pretty hefty action. Overall, Overall, I guess long term, I suppose you could say, or like, a couple months out, I'm a little bit bearish on this right here, right now, more than anything neutral, probably operates between 275 and 280-ish area. So a buy, a buy on 275, sell on 280, probably good to go. Again, this is not financial advice, just saying what I would do in that exact same situation. Alrighty, over here to Dixie, and Dixie having a great reaction. Wow. Okay, so this is exactly what we were looking for, and this is the power of the 21 exponential. We spoke about how it had major bearish divergence, which this rally kind of got rejected and came back down to base off of this area right here. We got that as well. This horizontal right here, it bounced back up the same day and closed above the 21. And again, I'm not saying this stuff to be arrogant. I'm saying this so that you can internalize this and then use it for your own good. And then continuation from that once, and then taking out this next resistance right here. Very fucking good. Very fucking powerful. I really like what I see here. I think your daily Stokes are about to cross back up again. Yes, they are. So overall, this is some good action right here. I think that you do get continuation. I think that you do reach for your next resistance somewhere right around here, $98.40. And I actually do have a measure move taking us all the way to about $1.03.5, but that's going to take a long time to play out if it does. So again, next kind of resistance is 97.75, and then 98.5 bucks, we'll call it. So yeah. What else we have to talk about? Let's go over here and look at the total market cap. Total market cap, again, don't really think that this is a falling wedge or a descending triangle or anything like that. I think that we have something new going on over here. I think that we had a symmetrical triangle, which technically got broken out, but again, very low volume breakout, and you come back down to base on this horizontal right here. Not fucking good. The second that we break that, not fucking good. Again, though, this is another one of those things where I'm starting to think, okay, do I reconsider what I'm looking at over here and think to myself that, nope, this is just some more random price action. There's no conviction in the market. There's no agreement in the market. So at the end of the day, it's one of those things. It's like, all right, well, we're probably just gonna have something new form. As long as you're essentially below well, you could really say it's about 250 billion. As long as you're below about 250 billion and above about 200 billion, you're kind of just ranging, so to say. Let's go look at the longs and shorts on Bitcoin, though. We completely forgot to do that, or at least I did. You didn't forget to do anything. You're perfect. You're perfect just the way you are. You are beautiful just the way you are. No one can bring you down. Total longs over here, a little over 24,000 open longs, and we got about 20,500 open shorts. So slightly more longs and shorts. Again, I don't put too much weight on this data anymore, to be honest with you. We technically have almost 3,000 hedge shorts, so that's really about a little under 18,000 opened naked shorts. So, at the end of the day, okay. I want to state, hey, I don't put too much weight on these values anymore. But what this would actually suggest is that we have a few longs that might be getting trapped, and overall, bears have plenty of fucking dry ammo to go and dry if they want. So do bulls as well. Neither is paying a high rate on their interest daily. This is all Finex, by the way. So again, I don't put too much weight on it. Yeah, we can go look at where these longs are getting long around, and we can see most of them going on at the best on November 3rd and going up from there. So if we go on to the price action over here, let's go look at November 3rd. Where was price action at? I believe it was right here. Yeah, here's November 3rd. It was quite literally at 63.50. So we've actually come back down to that exact level. So all the people who put on longs from that time are either just in profit or underwater by a little bit. Again, a very small range, but overall, something worth noting, I suppose. But again, I think that people kind of really overestimate the power of the longs and the shorts, because it looks like sexy when you have like the longs and the shorts and like, guys, I'm looking at this very special data. No one else has it. It's like, no. Price action first, my friends. Price action first. But again, it would be leaning a little bit more to the bear side. As you can tell, price action wise, I have to be kind of neutral here. My opinion is a little bit bearish. Just because just the higher time frames. Monthly over here, I want to talk about the monthly just for a second as well before I let you go. Monthly is very interesting to me because we are flirting once again around this 21 exponential. The monthly tells you a lot right here. If you break the 21 exponential, where is it? It's actually around 6150. 6150. So if you break that area, then yes, the next big area that I look towards is around 6750. By the same token, if the monthly could actually pump back above about 8,000, that would be incredible incredibly fucking bullish. If the monthly pumped back above 8,000, I would be instantly very, 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 very bullish. From what this is saying, just making a higher high for this guy over here. Overall, though, you know, a lot closer to the support than the resistance, but that's what I'd be looking for from a higher time frame. So let's go back in and wrap this bitch up on like an hourly perhaps, and just go over the lower time frames right here. Okay, so Bitcoin held above our 63.30 support right over here, came back and tested the region that we spoke about yesterday at the 63.60 area right here. Hourly is getting a death cross, and hourly Stokes will be turning, or actually they're not turning. They're still kind of gaining momentum to the upside. RSI over here just getting in the neutral zone a little bit, playing between the neutral and bearish zone, so a little bit more bearishly interpreted. But overall, you know, I don't like how it's fucking around on the 21 right here. It looks like it wants to come back down to me. It looks like it's going to come back down to about 63.30. So again, yesterday at the end of the stream when I said, okay, guys, I'll just give you the fucking magic pill, or the magic pill. I hate that I said that. But, you know, we're probably going to go to 63.60 and probably get rejected there. Well, I think that you do come down to about 63.30 after this. And if we break it, well, that's going to be very bad. I don't have an opinion on if we break it right here, right now. We have a lot of things disagreeing with each other. You know, like our hourly Stokes are getting up there. Our 4 hour are all the way down. 8 hour pretty much all the way down as well. 10 hour are all the way down as well, and 12 hour, you know, are getting there as well. You know, daily is, you know, daily did just cross down, but I'd be more neutral than anything here. I don't think that there's too much to be had from trading these ranges. I think that really the money to be made is in options right now. If you know how to do that, again, just putting on a very fucked up strangle over here. This is like the most fucked up strangle I've ever done. It's done on 3 different strikes for the calls, and they're $250 apart. But because Bitcoin, because these decay so fucking fast, man, so fucking fast, which is great. You know, it's great for your P&L over here. You know, pulling that in. Daily, it's very nice, but at the end of the day, you know, when it comes down to it, I mean, that's really all I've been doing in this market recently. I don't know how people are making money in a sideways market like this. You know, you get a couple pumps here and there, but they're few and far between and quite small overall. Let's see, what about the 2 hours? The 2 hour going to get death cross? Yeah. So the 2 hour is getting pretty damn close as well. If maybe we do get do we get another pump on this guy? No, if we get another dump though, we will get death cross on the 2 hour right over here. 2 hour Stokes kind of trying to get out of the bear zone as well. So overall, you know, I'm more neutral than anything. You know, as long as you're below the daily 21 right here at around 63.90, I look at this as a rejection of this area, and probably wants to come back down to our 63.30 support. If that area fails, and I'd be looking towards 62.80, which I know is like a phenomenal fucking range. If that area fails, then 62.50, and if that area fails, then things can get quite interesting around 61.50. And if that area fails, then it's time for the true bear to come out. At the end of the day, you know, I guess you could trade these ranges if you want, but just understand that they're quite tight and quite not too much edge on them. So overall, you know, do we have any sort of bullish divergence on like a 2 hour? No, we don't. So only bullish divergence up to an hourly over here, and I think it's already played out. You put in the bullish divergence over here, you pop back up to the neutral zone, and so far rejection, losing the 21 exponential already. Not fucking good in my opinion. I think my opinion says that you do probably come back down to 63.30-ish area. If we break that, I don't have an opinion on if we break it, but if we do break it, very bad. So overall, that's what I'm looking at today. That's what I'll be doing. I'm just gonna be handling that options position and off to the rest of my day. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your Saturday. Hope everyone has the best Saturday possible. I'm a little bit tired myself, but look forward to see you guys soon. So take care.